When a Bollywood actor found a baby girl abandoned in a garbage bin, he took her in and gave her the life she deserved. Nearly 3 decades later, her incredible transformation will leave you astonished. Mithun Chakraborty was one of Bollywood's biggest stars, and his life played out like a classic Bollywood movie. Raised in poverty, he had a rebellious youth before unexpectedly achieving remarkable and well-deserved success. Since he was a little boy, Mithun had always found ways to make money, from helping neighbors to doing odd jobs. However, it was only when he saw an advertisement for recruitment in the acting department at the Film Institute that things began to change. Usually people like Mithun, who came from poor backgrounds, had no chance in the film industry, as only children from high society were taken to study. However, the members of the selection committee were charmed by his personality, wit, and charm, and they took a chance on him, landing him several non-speaking background roles in upcoming movies and shows. While background acting was fun, it wasn't lucrative. If he wanted true success, Mithun knew he had to become a star. To make ends meet, he participated in Indian dance reality shows and once even gave an interview for just a bowl of rice. Times were tough for him, but he finally hit the big time after appearing in the film Disco Dancer. Since then, Mithun has become one of the most famous, rich, and influential Bollywood actors in history. In fact, over the course of his career, Mithun starred in a world record-breaking 350 films. From the moment his career took off, Mithun's life was a whirlwind of movies, interviews, women, financial decisions, marriage, and even divorce. It wasn't until he settled down with his second wife, Yogita Bali, that things started to calm down. Yogita abandoned her own career to devote herself to her husband and their family. Together, they had 3 sons and were seen as the perfect couple by people around the world. Of course, like all couples, Mithun and Yogita had their arguments and ups and downs. One of their biggest fights occurred when it was reported that Mithun was seeing another woman and that they were deeply in love. The report claimed Mithun was planning to leave Yogita to start a new life with this woman. Whether these reports were true or not, the separation never materialized, but it did drive a wedge of distrust between the couple. Despite this, they persevered in their marriage, although it never quite felt the same. Then, sometime in 1993, Mithun was reading a newspaper when a story caught his eye. It was about a baby found abandoned in a trash can in a Mumbai alleyway. The baby's biological parents had left her there, indifferent to her fate. Mithun was deeply moved by the story and couldn't believe that parents could treat their own child that way. He loved his children dearly and couldn't imagine doing anything to harm them, let alone abandon them. Unfortunately, India is a generally poor country, and many people can't afford to raise their children, leading to situations like this far more often than anyone would like to admit. Mithun knew what it was like to struggle for money. Though he was now incredibly wealthy, he had once been in a desperate position himself. Who knows, if life had turned out differently for him, he might have been the one forced to make a similar heartbreaking decision. It seemed like fate that Mithun read that newspaper article because only a few weeks later, while walking down the street, he heard a muffled cry. Looking around, he saw no one nearby, which was unusual, as people often followed him, seeking autographs or photos. Still, he couldn't quite locate the source of the crying, that is, until he walked past a trash can. Lifting the lid, he nearly passed out at the sight of what greeted him, a little baby girl. It was as if the article he had read was coming true in his own life. Unsure of what to do, Mithun scooped the abandoned girl up and carried her home to his wife. They couldn't just leave her alone, as she would surely die. However, they didn't want to send her to an orphanage or an institution where she wouldn't receive the proper care and attention she deserved. It was a tricky and terrible situation, but eventually, the couple made a decision that would greatly impact their lives. They would adopt her. They already had 3 sons, but had always dreamed of having a little girl. This might not have been the most traditional way of having a baby, but they saw it as a sign, a gift from God. The girl had an unfortunate start in life, but if Mithun and Yogita could turn things around and give her the amazing life she deserved, they would. They named her Dishani and looked after her as if she were their biological child. Even their boys loved having a baby sister around the house. It was as if Dishani slotted perfectly into their family's life. In fact, she soon became the most beloved child in the family. She seemed to have come along at the perfect time, helping Mithun and Yogita forget about their grievances caused by the news reports. They saw the arrival of Dishani as the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, as if a new leaf had been turned over. The family grew closer than ever, and no one could believe how strong and successful a unit Mithun, Yogita, and their 4 children had become. What was painfully obvious was that Dishani's biological parents did not care where she was or what had happened to her. No one ever came looking for her, and when it came to the adoption process, Mithun and Yogita were granted permission in no time. Despite being found in a trash can, Dishani grew up in a palatial home with everything she could ever need or even dream of. 29 years later, life for Dishani is amazing. While she grew up with more than she could have ever asked for, she remained humble and hardworking. Mithun and Yogita never lied to her about how she came to be part of their family, and Dishani was always grateful that they saved her and gave her another chance at life. As she grew into a woman, Dishani decided she wanted to follow in her father's footsteps and become an actor. She traveled to America and graduated from the New York Film Academy and Film Institute in Los Angeles with a degree in acting. Dishani made her acting debut in 2017 and has since appeared in several films, while also working behind the camera to direct other productions. In fact, she even directed a few of her siblings, who also entered the acting world. Fortunately, there was never any animosity between Mithun's children, and they all loved and supported one another equally. It was one of the things that made the Chakraborty family so special and close-knit. Outside of her career, Dishani is engaged and living with her fiancé in Los Angeles. She shares her story and photos on social media platforms, with close to 100,000 people following her on Instagram alone. She looks absolutely stunning, but her beauty is not the only reason her fans love her. People are inspired by this beautiful woman, and her story resonates deeply with everyone, making them question whether they would be strong enough to cope had they been abandoned. Mithun and Yogita couldn't be prouder of their daughter. While Mithun is grateful for all his accomplishments, he knows his greatest achievement will always be the gift of having Dishani in his life. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please like and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.